knives, keeping them sharp. We're far enough along that you need to start now paying attention to your knife. Make sure that it stays sharp for you. The first thing, pretty much everybody usually has one of these hanging out at home somewhere, okay? And they're like, oh, I use it to sharpen my knife. No, this is a steel. It does not sharpen knives. It hones knives. What that means is that it will keep a sharp knife sharp, but once your knife becomes dull, it will do basically nothing. All this does is push the little tiny serrations that you can't see back into alignment. But eventually they will break off, at which point you have to sharpen your knife. To sharpen your knife, you need to use typically some kind of ceramic or other stone material that will scrape the metal off. You can go to kitchen supply shops, pick up one of these, get them on Amazon, wherever. They're not that expensive. You'll spend 20, maybe 30 bucks, depending on which one you get. They'll often have two different grits on them, 1,000 and 3,000, so relatively coarse, relatively fine. Cool, you can do that. The other thing you can do is you can grab a coffee cup, a bowl, anything ceramic, okay, and turn it over. There will typically be an unglazed section on the bottom. You can use that to sharpen your knife if you need to as well, if you have nothing else to sharpen on. Just on a bowl or cup or plate turned upside down and use that. Okay, so we're gonna sharpen. Every time we sharpen our knife, we're killing it a little bit. We're taking metal off. So we only want to sharpen it when we need to. If you sharpen all the time, like you get what's called a diamond steel, one of these that has diamond dust embedded into it, so that every time you go to hone, you're pulling off a little bit of metal, you will see your knife start to shrink, like noticeably over the course of a year. It will get smaller, okay? So don't get one of those. Get a regular steel, get a stone, learn to use it. There are two rules of thumb, or two schools I should say, when working with stones. Some people prefer to work side to side. Some people prefer to work inline. There are great debates that rage over which is better. I don't care. Whichever works. Periodically, you will send your professional knives to a professional to sharpen them. They'll do it how they do and they'll make them razor sharp. For us, we want to make them functionally sharp. I like inline. So, I'm going to take my knife. I want to make sure that I use the entire stone and that I touch the entire length of the edge. Okay? So I'll start with the tip. Just lightly press down on the stone. I'm not going to be jamming down through it. I'm just going to set it on top. And I will draw lightly across. Turn it over. Go back. I like to go side to side. Always pulling metal away from the edge, so that as I work, I'm pulling that edge to a sharper point. 3, 4, 5, 6 times at the most on either side, we'll start to sharpen. You can see the metal starting to come off, okay? Don't run your thumb along it. That's bad. Some people will try and scrape. You can kind of tell. Personally, and this always scares people a little bit, I like to take my knife and take my thumbnail and lightly set the knife on my thumbnail and just lightly pull. I'm not pushing down at all, okay? I'm not setting and dragging. If it's sharp, I'm gonna feel it bite along my thumbnail the whole length. If it's dull, it's gonna skid and slide, okay? So that's feeling nice. Go ahead and turn it over. Repeat the process now on the fine side. Wipe, be very careful. If I had a bigger towel, fold it over, roll it away. Never pinch, especially after sharpening your knife. The towel right at the edge, you will cut right through your towel and through your finger in the process. Yeah. It's feeling good. Very nicely. Now we'll hit the steel. There are 3 ways to use the steel. The safest method and most accurate method is to take like a wet towel or even a dry towel, put it down on your table, on your cutting board, wherever. Set the knife on top, or the steel on top of it, so that you create a 90-degree angle with the table surface. That way you come in, you say, okay, that's 90 degrees. Cut that in half. That's 45 degrees. Cut that in half. It's about 22.5 degrees. Close enough for what we're looking for. Then you put your steel against the knife and you just draw it down. This one will give you the most accurate line so that you can watch it the whole way through. It will also be the safest because there is zero way that you can cut yourself at all. Okay. What it lacks in its safety and accuracy is that it doesn't look very cool. That's important, especially if you're in an open kitchen, which is why you see chefs do it. It also takes a second longer. This way. So then you can do it towards yourself. If you go towards yourself, place the knife against, again, 90, 45, 22 and a half. Place the heel of the knife against the steel, and rather than drawing it down the blade, breaking at the wrist, just slice down. Okay? You gotta make sure you're using a long enough steel to work with your knife, but there's zero way that you can hit yourself versus drawing down where you'll hit yourself. Never push the knife and steel towards each other. Again, that's how you're gonna cut yourself. Okay? The third way is you can do it away from yourself if you prefer. If you do that always over a table, because Daniel, how does it feel when I start coming at you and saying like this, right? It's amazing how it changes very quick. But personally, I prefer here because we can just hit it. We don't have to look. There's no way that we're going to cut ourselves, and we'll be good to go.